Okay, we're back. I got remembered to bring my sensor tester with me today so we can get the seed tubes changed out and double check all the sensors. It seems like there was one giving me fits right at the tail end of last year, but I can't remember which one it was. And it was sporadic. And I remember I tried it to find it with anyway, I don't remember which one it is, so if it is there, we'll just have to find it when I start planting. Because I remember I couldn't get it to do it if I even bothered looking, because it seems like it was like right like the last 2 days of planting or something. I just wasn't worried about it. Anyway, got to get the seed tubes changed over, get the plates put in. Looks like I need to tighten my tanks up a little bit. And grease the planter, and then it should be done and ready to go. Yeah, probably need to check the oil in the pump. And that's all I can think that this thing needs done to it to finish it up, and then have to get it folded back up so that I'm not worried about it being unfolded. And then we got to pull my monitor box off the tractor and get it in the shop, because we have toggle clips to put on it to replace these, so you don't need a dang screwdriver every time you want to take the cover on and off the box. So in order to do that, in order to weld those on, obviously I got to take the monitor and the control box out, because you don't want to be welding with those in there. Which works out, because I had a damn mouse get in here this winter apparently, and they decided to chew a couple wires. Luckily, it's just on the power cable. It's not actually in the monitor harness cable. So there's just the positive, or the hot and the ground wire. And luckily they didn't chew through, but that wire's got a bare spot in it now. That one's got a little bare spot in it. So yeah, we gotta fix that. So that's gotta come out anyhow, so we can address that situation. That's the plug for my puck. I'm hoping get all the wires out, and I'm hoping that hole is big enough for that GPS puck to fit down through, so that I can run it down and put it. I'm probably gonna see, hopefully if I put it there in front of the fender, or on the front of the fender, it will read good enough, because it just needs a clear view forward. It doesn't need anything else. So like I say, hopefully with the wires out, that hole is big enough. I think it is. So that's basically what, and then redo my power harness and take my plug for this off the key switch and put it down on constant 12-volt power. So that's what we got to get done today. Shouldn't take too god-awful long, but I didn't think that yesterday was going to take very long either, and then it took me most of the dang day to get all them coulters changed over, or openers. They're technically not coulters, they're openers. But anyway, I need to get all the seed boxes off so that we can get to the tubes, and we can start changing them. finally got all the boxes off. Took me a minute. Got a phone call right into it that about some ground in town, so I ended up having to run into town and look at a field. Actually, it's a few fields broke up, but it's about, the guy was saying it was 9 acres. I think it's actually a little bit more because they did a bunch of ground clearing out there, but we'll see. But that guy was a perfect example of how you do approach a potential renter as a landlord. Pretty good guy. So we can talk more about that when we see the field for the first time. But we'll see how the first year goes. I'm not expecting, well, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But I got another 9-10 acres, maybe 11-12, somewhere in there. We'll see when it comes time to plant it. But anyhow, seed tubes, that's what we're after here today. While that's still somewhat held in place, we are going to, where did I put my bottle brush? I mean, they should still work because most of these were replaced, but hey, that one's good. And before I put everything back together, just for shits and giggles, we'll check the monitor harness too and make sure everything's kosher in that direction. Oh wow, I am kind of surprised that this one still works, because that wire is all chewed up. Son of a Buick. Might just end up replacing this one anyhow. Huh. Right there. I guess I'll run down through the line and pull all of them out and make sure, because I have one spare at the house. I guess I'll run down through the line, check all these, pull all of them out, and make sure everything's good or not good. And hopefully it's just this one tore up and I can replace it, and we'll go from there. That almost looks like a mouse was chewing on it. Those look like teeth marks. Rotten bastards. Okay, I went all the way through, pulled all the seed tubes out, checked all the sensors work. This is the only one that has to be mouse damage. Those are teeth marks. But since this is a fully functioning sensor, other than it's got these frayed wires, and these things are like $82 a piece or whatever they are, that's way too much to just throw out a perfectly good sensor because of some wire damage. So we're going to try to fix this, cut it apart, put some butt splices in, and wrap it back up and heat shrink it, and see if we can make it work right. I mean, it should. There's only 3 wires in there. It's kind of hard to screw up. Okay, we've been moving along. I got most of them done. This one, people are showing up to get parts, so I just kind of started working ahead. We had some heat shrink butt splices, so I put some butt spliced this all back together to get rid of that bite mark. And we didn't have, all of our heat shrink tubing was either too small to get over all 3 butt splices or way too big to be able to shrink down far enough, so I ended up just wire taping it. But it works, so there's that. And then row number 3, first off, I'm wondering if this is an original. It's probably not original to the planter specifically, but I think this is actually an original white seed tube because it's got a W on it. It's a low rate seed tube. It's got the small hole in it, and it had a low rate sensor in it. It's only got the 2 photo eyes, which I'm kind of surprised that wasn't, and I'm wondering if this was the row unit that was giving me fits or not. But I'm kind of surprised that it wasn't giving the monitor fits, because I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think you're supposed to mix high and low rate sensors together, because I think it'll screw things up. So that's going to get replaced. I got to run home and get the other spare sensor I got, which means I'll probably have to order a couple more from Shoop just to have for spares. I like ordering the ones from Shoop over anywhere else, because the ones Shoop has have the long pigtails. Everybody else for some reason has a short pigtail that's only about yay long. And we're even going brand for brand on the seed tubes, because they're Precision Planting and AGCO owns Precision Planting, so we're keeping it in the family. I always thought Bullseye was a brand name. I didn't realize that it was a Precision Planting line. Of course, hell, I think Precision Planting got the market on dang near all, seems like all the aftermarket planter parts anymore. Heck, most planters now come right out of the factory set up with all the Precision Planting stuff on them right off the get-go. Everybody just builds toolbars. Precision Planting builds the planter. And there's some dirt down there on the hook. Blow that out so it'll sit down in there right. And then fish the cord through the hole. And straighten that out a little bit. And there's that. Alright, went home, got my spare high rate sensor. So now we're high rate sensors all the way across. I really honestly can't believe that one low rate sensor wasn't making the monitor angry, but I guess it worked. So before we button the planter back up, oh, yeah, I know you're angry. So now, what are you bitching about? We take our little tester here just to make sure everything's kosher. And now that row should be blinking. And the monitor's angry because, yep, one's blinking, the monitor's reading the 2 through 8 aren't. So really you can do this with one person, because you plug the tester in, If the monitor starts yelling at you, it means that it's reading that row. Alright, boxes are all back on, everything's hooked back up, checked the air in the tires, greased it, topped off the oil in the PTO pump. Everything should be ready from the drawbar back, as far as I know. Shouldn't be anything else. Trying to think. Clutches are greased, lift wheels are greased, everything, tongue, all the sensors, yeah, everything should be good. So with that being said, let's fold this thing up and whip it around so we can get the tractor closer to the shop. And okay, so like I said before, I want to change this 12-volt outlet from where it's got 12-volt key power to just 12-volt constant power to save the, or so that the memory function works in the monitor, so you don't gotta re-enter all your stuff every time. So I was way overthinking it, because I was thinking I was gonna have to pull my hot wire down here to the battery lug where you got your 12 volts. But instead, I was like, well, now hold on here. All I gotta do, because this fuse wire right here is my power, just take it off the accessory lug on the switch and move it over to the battery lug on the switch, and Bob's your uncle, you got 12-volt constant power, and I don't gotta re-pull any wires. So that's what we're gonna do. Although I don't think my nut driver is gonna get the job done, because it's gonna be too long. Is that the right size driver to begin with? No, I need a 3/8 it looks like. So let me go get a wrench, or a socket and a quarter drive ratchet. This is gonna be a lot easier. I wasn't even thinking about the fact that there was a battery power lug right at the switch. And normally there would be a 12-volt power outlet right here But I took that 12-volt power outlet out to put a rocker switch in to run my flashers. And even if there was a 12-volt outlet there, I'd prefer to not have all the cords running up over the dash and all that stuff. That's why I put it down on top of the 3-speed. It made it nice and clean, keeps all the wires down under the floorboard where you can't see them and they don't get hung up on anything. Stay on there. Now, if we look down here, actually no, you don't get a 12-volt indication. The power light's on the monitor side of the plug, not here. But now I should have 12 volts here, constant, which I should be able to check that with a voltmeter just to be sure. Alright, I got 12 volts at that outlet constant now, which is a move in the right direction. That was really dang simple. So now I have to take the monitor and fold box out of this, which is just 4 screws and the whole frame comes out, and you got to fish the cords back out. And then we can weld these toggle locks on. And they're just like a quarter, or maybe they're a half, but either way you just turn them and they cinch down rather than having to use the bat with a screwdriver and stuff. That way you don't need any tools. And then we got to figure out how to put that on. So first things first, let me get it gutted. Alright, monitors are out. We'll have to, and they even got it. Luckily, I don't see any, they did nip it a little right there, but that can probably get away with being taped up. Damn mice, I tell you what, that looks like it can probably just be taped up, because I don't really see any bare wire. Actually, what I'll probably do is untape it down here, because I should be able to unplug those, because I think I put a double spade down here, so I should be able to unplug them and slide a piece of heat shrink up that one. And then this one, I can probably do the same thing with, because they didn't actually they only got one wire. Rotten bastards. I think it's just the one spot in this wire. So the monitors are getting stored in the house from now on instead of the barn. You'd think with all the cats I have, stray cats, well technically they're not strays, they belong to the neighbor lady, but you'd think with all the cats I got living around there, free of charge. But apparently they ain't worth a damn. at taking care of mice. Well, that's dull. It's easier down here on the floor. Before anybody says anything about the drill barking, I even tried it with a little bit of tap fluid, or drill and tap fluid on it. It didn't make a lick of difference. Okay, those are off. All right, I'll put the lid back on, hold it down with a clamp to compress the seal so that it's, because otherwise you're trying to fight it. And then we can weld these guys on. Helps if you turn the gas on. There. Them ought to not go anywhere. Alright, with those on there, if you put the lid on square. Ta-da! No more screwdriver. Alright, that cooled down enough. Go ahead and put the monitors back in. Well, no, first take care of them cords before the monitors go back in. This is probably a little bit... If they had got to both wires on both cords, and there was... Actually, that one doesn't need a full chunk. If they'd got to both wires on both cords and chewed all the way through them, or put a big gouge in both of them, then I would probably worry about cutting them apart, butt splicing them back together, taking care of it that way. But since really all they did was chew up the jacket, I'm not overly worried about cleaning it up in that way. That'll work. So this should work just fine. Need a longer cord. And since both cuts end up inside the box anyhow, you don't really got to worry about any moisture because they're protected inside the box. So I am just really glad all they decided to chew on was the power cords, because it's a whole lot easier to fix those than it is the actual monitor harness, because there's a lot fewer wires to worry about. Okay, monitors are back in. Before I string the cords back down through the pedestal, we have to get my new GPS in, or GPS sending unit, whatever you want to. GPS puck. And since the puck itself has a magnetic stem on it, it's going to be a whole lot easier to stuff this up through. So I think what I can do is, if we take this guy and turn it upside down like that, I guess, whoops, that's not good for it. And then we can just drop it through like this. There. And get it back on the tractor and figure out where everything is going to lay. There's not really I guess for now I just kind of let that sit there like that, kind of wedged in, and because there's not really any way to mount it to anything. All my boss does is he put a piece of Velcro on it and he Velcroed it in place, which really wouldn't be that big of a deal. Figure out where I can put it, although by the time you hook the plug up, it really can't come over any further, otherwise you're into the wall of the box. But anyway, we'll get that can all be taken care of at a later date. Well, I got the puck there on the front of the fender. everything turns on. The problem I run into is you turn the monitor on and you get that E1.6, which I don't know if that's an error code or what. And shut up. But that green light that's not coming on is a GPS lock, and the red light's a WAS lock. And that red light's supposed to be flashing while it's searching for a signal, and it's not flashing, so it's not searching for a signal. So I went online on their website and looked at their manuals, and there's no sort of error code breakdown list in the manual for it. There are 6 little micro switches in there that you're supposed to flick back and forth on or off depending on what you're hooking it up to. And it's an AGCO monitor, but it's made by Dickie John as far as I know. So I set it up for a Dickie John monitor, which just entailed splitting the cover and flicking one switch to the off position, and plugged in all my constants. The speed constant the manual gave for this for a Dickie, I'm assuming this is the equivalent to a Dickie John 3000. It would make sense. But it said for a Dickie John 3000, speed constant's 1480, so I plugged that in and set everything up, and it still gives that and doesn't try to search for any WAS signal. So I guess I am gonna have to call tomorrow when they're open and see what the deal is. The other thing I don't know is, unfortunately, you're getting new enough with this planner that now all of a sudden there's a different operator's manual for every single thing on it, and there is a specific operator's manual for this monitor, which I do not have. I bought one yesterday once I figured out or that there was one, but I won't have that till middle of the week this week. And the operator's manual, actually you got to go into the service manual I have, that gives you gives you the instructions for laying out a course and doing a speed test to get your speed constant that you would use to run the speed indicator that runs off the jack shaft on the planner. But the only thing that it tells you about running a GPS or radar is one little paragraph that says you can pair this monitor with a ground speed indicator radar. It doesn't say what you got to do, because I'm assuming, one would assume, that you can't leave the planner speed sensor plugged in, or they would fight each other, I would think. But without the book, I don't know, so I won't know that till the book gets here. Plus, I don't know what that E1.6 means in that sensor box. So, make a phone call tomorrow, figure out what the deal is with that, and hopefully make it work tomorrow. But other than that, probably turn that off so we're not sitting here draining battery. Now the memory function works. It stores the constants, so that works out better. So barring getting that GPS puck to work right, which hopefully doesn't take much, the planner is pretty much ready to go. Actually, the planner is ready to go. It's just a matter of getting that puck to work. And if we can't get it to work, I guess we'll just do another ground speed calibration and do it the way I've been doing it until we can figure out how to get it to work. But anyhow, with that being said, I think we pretty much covered everything we need to cover for today. So that's it for this one, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.